and y'all haven't seen nothing every day till this day, okay? Blessings are chasing me down to overtake my life in every if area. God said what he said type of year. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of people talking about you.
What's up, y'all?
Okay?
It's your girl, Bree. It is time for another episode of Brunch with Bree, the podcast, a personal development and entrepreneurship podcast for millennial and Gen Z women who are seeking to walk in their purpose through business. You guys, I'm so super excited about this. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Brunch. We're kicking off season 3. If you heard our first episode of the year, then you already know. You already know the developments in the community. You already know we launched a website, y'all. We have a digital home finally. brunchwithbree.com. That's where we'll be giving you guys more info on entrepreneurship and personal development and then some. We got freebies on the site. Go ahead and subscribe to our email list. It's already going down over there. Make sure you're the first notified of when something new comes up. We have so much in store. We'll be doing live events very soon. Courses and webinars are coming out. All this good information. So go ahead and head on over to brunchwithbree.com and sign up for email notifications for our newsletter. Get all that information in. I will be leaving the link in our show notes, of course, to hook you guys up. And if you aren't following us on Instagram, go ahead and do that. We're over on the gram at Brunch with Bree Pod. Listen, we have so much to talk about today. It's going to be a great episode. But before we start, you know what we got to do? We got to brunch. What are you guys brunching with today? What do you have? Your girl is in need of some tea. I have some, I don't know what's up with me and pancakes lately, but that's what has been happening. You know what I'm going to learn how to do? I've always wanted to try, never got into it. I think that I should make that a Saturday project. Just one morning, just wake up, put on YouTube, because YouTube University is everything, and go ahead and make crepes. Do you pronounce it crepes or crepes? Let me know what the correct pronunciation of this word is so that I can get it right. So I think that's what I'm going to do for you guys. Maybe if I do happen to do that on Saturday, maybe I'll Instagram live it. I don't know. We'll see. The way my Saturdays be set up sometimes, I don't know. But welcome to season 3. Now, we've been through some things already for season 1 and season 2, but for season 3, we wanted to take it back, and we are calling this series Biz and Basics. Why? Because I've gotten a whole bunch of questions, and I've talked to a lot of budding entrepreneurs and people who are wanting to start their business and don't really know where to start. And so we just got to take this thing back to the basics, and we're going to take you from start to finish. We're going to learn entrepreneurship. There's so much that we can cover. There's so much that we can share with each other, so much that I've learned in my personal journey that I'm so excited to share with you guys. So we're going to go over that in our Biz and Basic series. So we're taking it back to basics. And what better way to take it all the way back to our why? This podcast episode is entitled How to Identify Your Why in Entrepreneurship. And I've spoken with a lot of women, and a lot of women who know for sure that they want to start a business. They know that there's something on their heart that they really want to do, or communities that they can really impact. And they're needing a little bit of assistance clarifying a few things. And entrepreneurship, it's a whole lot of entrepreneurship is a lot. You're constantly discovering things about business itself and how to run a business and be a business owner. You're learning a lot about yourself as a person, as an individual. You're learning new capabilities. You're learning new skill sets. It's a whole lot of. So we want to break it down and make it simple for you. If you know you want to start a business, not quite sure how to go about it or where you need to even begin. Do I quit my job today? Do I find investors tomorrow? We're going to break all of this down for you guys, and we have to start with our heart, which is why I wanted to start here with how to identify your why in entrepreneurship. We also have a blog post on the same topic on brunchwithbree.com. It's live now, so go ahead, you can check out the blog post as well. But we have to do a heart check. We have to do a hard check when we jump into business ownership because it is real out here. It's not a game. There are going to be some times where we will be challenged. Our resolve will be challenged. There's going to be moments where you feel like you want to give up. And this is not to discourage anybody. This is just the real life reality of the situation. Entrepreneurship takes diligence and it takes work. And if your heart is not in it, if you are not in it for the long haul or for the right reasons for yourself, then we want to avoid falling to the wayside. Now, I'm not talking about those who are in entrepreneurship with a strategy. Your strategy is to build this brand or sell this product, get in, get out. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about those who have a passion for what they want to do, a passion for what they're trying to start and what they're trying to build. You have to have a heart check. Not only does having that heart check help you to make sure that you are 10 toes down in this thing, okay? Because you're going to need all 10 of your toes. All 10, you're going to need to get that pinky toe. You're going to need to get that pinky toe in here because we need all 10 toes down in entrepreneurship. But not only does it help you and your resolve when things get a little rocky, but it also will help you identify the course and the path and the trajectory English of your business and the direction that it will go in. It will help you determine that much easier. So let me tell you a story. When I first started my journey into entrepreneurship, it was 2017. I was in a place in my life where I was depressed, to be honest with you guys. I was depressed. I wasn't fulfilled. I had worked already, I think maybe 10 years already in corporate America. I had worked with different firms. I had several management positions, but I still wasn't fulfilled. Something still wasn't quite right that I couldn't put my finger on. And eventually that turned into me wanting to find and walk in my purpose. Now, that in itself is easier said than done, but I knew it was on my heart very heavily that this is not it for me. Just working, the 9 to 5, although I was comfortable and I had worked my way up and I had hustled to get there, it just wasn't enough. And it wasn't the pay grade, although, that could always have been improved. But something inside told me that this is not it. And so I went into my prayer closet, and this is not all that God had for me. I needed to walk in my purpose. And in that, I found that I needed to create community that I myself was lacking. So I started that community. God gave me specific instructions to write down my life and share it on the internet, and thus launched my first blog in 2017 for moms, single moms. At that time, I was a single moms like myself, and that threw me into entrepreneurship. And I tell this whole story in my book, My Father's Business, A Journey to Entrepreneurship by Faith, which is available. The ebook is available now on brunchwithbree.com/books. But I tell this whole story about how I jumped into entrepreneurship and how it all started for me. But the thing I realized, my why for entrepreneurship, aside from the need to create this community of women to support one another, it turned out to be more of who I am. And who I am is a child of God. I am made in His image and in His likeness. We are made in His image and His likeness. And God is the creator of all things. And if I am like my Father in heaven, and He has given me dominion over the earth, that I am to be fruitful and to multiply as He commanded. And I couldn't be fruitful and multiply in the 9-to-5 space. I couldn't be all that God had called me to be by just going through the motions and being satisfied with mediocrity in that sense. Now, this is not a bash on 9-to-5s, okay? I don't want anyone to take it that way, because you do need to work. That's a real thing. If you need your job, you need your job. And I didn't go quit my job when I began my entrepreneurship journey. It became a dual venture. I was working 9-to-5 and building my business and my brand on the side of that. But call on my life was specific to creating. I just want to read really quickly Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 through 28, and it says, "Then God said, 'Let us, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, make man in our own image according to our likeness, not physical, but a spiritual person and moral likeness. And let them have complete authority over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, the cattle, and over the entire earth, and over everything that creeps and crawls on earth.' So God created man in His own image. In the image and likeness of God, He created him, male and female. And God blessed them, granting them certain authority. And He said, 'Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth, and subjugate it, put it under your power, and rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and every living thing that moves upon the earth.'" I read that scripture specifically because God has given each of us gifts and talents to cultivate and to use. And there's many parables in the Bible about using those gifts and talents. But in my entrepreneurship journey, I discovered that my business is aligned with my purpose. And that is why we have Brunch with Bree, the podcast, for women who are seeking to walk in their purpose through business. If God is calling you to the marketplace, then we need to be obedient to that and use our gifts, talents, knowledge, experiences for the uplifting of His kingdom and to walk into our purpose to help others. So that's why I knew for a fact that entrepreneurship was for me. Besties, yes, It is me, Bree, interrupting this episode to let you guys know that we officially have a website. So excited about it. If you haven't heard, if you haven't been paying attention, girl, stay with it, okay? Brunchwithbree.com is live and in living color right now. Go ahead and subscribe. It's where you're going to get blogs on our podcast topics. You're going to get notifications on freebies, courses, webinars, meet and greets, and live events. You don't want to miss a thing. Go ahead and sign up for our newsletter at brunchwithbree.com. Back to the show. So that sounds great, right? Sounds awesome. God is the creator of all things. He made me in his image. So then that means as an entrepreneur, what are entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs create. They create nothing. They create something out of nothing. And that is what I am called to do. I'm called to be an entrepreneur and to help women in the marketplace. That I know for sure. But it took a while for me to get there and get to this conclusion. And in business, there are a lot of layers, and you will need to take a moment just to assess. You need to go in your prayer closet. You need to talk to God, and you need to ask yourself as well, why am I doing this? And we need to ask key questions that can help us pinpoint that, because there's a lot of stuff that we have to weed through as entrepreneurs, and that is why we have the why worksheet. Link is in the description box. It is also available for free on brunchwithbree.com. Ask yourself some questions when you're doing this heart check. This is how to identify your why. The first question you want to ask yourself: who is my business serving? Who am I in business for? Now, this can be a layered answer. It can be, you can be in business to serve yourself. When I started my business, I knew specifically that I was in business to service women like myself, because I found myself in a predicament and I didn't find the community that I needed. So who is your business serving? Is this a self-serving venture, or does it serve a specific community? Is it something that you are passionate about? You know, a lot of times, because entrepreneurship is so complex and it requires so much of us, and it requires so much of our time, and our space and our bandwidth and our mental capacity, are you passionate about what you're doing? Because not everyone is passionate about what they're doing. And if you're not passionate about what you're doing, it is much easier to start something and put it down than it is to see it to completion, than it is to finish it. So is it something you're passionate about? Is it something that makes you happy? Is it something that you enjoy? Because I hear a lot of entrepreneurs say, hey, I want to start my own business because I want to be my own boss and I don't want anybody telling me what to do, which is great. If that's a goal, if that's a goal for you, go ahead and complete that goal. But there's nothing worse than saying you want freedom in that way, to quit your job and then start a business that you absolutely can't stand to do, that you absolutely hate. Is it something that you're passionate about? Otherwise, you're inheriting a second job. And it will take even more effort because it requires so much of yourself. It will take that much more effort to complete that job at the end of the day. Let's take a look at our lifestyle before you start a business. What are some of the things in your life that are non-negotiables? What are some of the things in your life that you can do without? And it doesn't have to be tangible. It doesn't have to be a physical thing. It can be principles, morals. What are some of your non-negotiables in your life? And this will really help you to clarify and pinpoint why you're going into entrepreneurship, because a lot of the time your non-negotiables will match up and will align with the reason why you are going into business in the first place. Then we want to really take a look at the problems your business or your potential business resolves for others. What is it doing in the earth? What is it doing in the community? What is it doing for a specific group or a niche? Is it a service? Is it a product? What problems does your business resolve for others? Like I said, when I started my business, first through blogging with my first blog ever, Mom's Cafe blog, I was creating a community for mothers who didn't have space to share and exchange wealth of knowledge, to share and exchange support. I was lacking that in my own life, and certainly there were several others who were in that same situation, and that is what I wanted to provide a solution for, and that was the problem my business resolved. So here's what I would love for us to do as a community. I would love for the Brunch Besties to go ahead and click the link in the show notes or head over to brunchwithbree.com. Download the why worksheet for free. Answer those questions on that worksheet. Sit down with yourself. If you have to pray, if you have to think, just set aside some time to go ahead and fill that out. And we're going to go over our answers. I will be filling that out as well. And we will be going over our answers, and I will share them on the next episode. So thank you so much for joining us, besties, for this episode. Make sure you subscribe to brunchwithbree.com to make sure you get all the updates. Give us 5 stars on iTunes and leave us a review. It really helps other entrepreneurs find this entrepreneurship and personal development podcast. We will see you guys later, back with those results. See you later, guys. Bye.